Hello, my name is Rebecca.
And I'm Steven.
And we are here with an out-of-character episode all about our time at GenCon.
It may sound a little echoey, and we are sorry for that. It's the too many echoes. We've got too many echoes of hope.
Too many echoes of hope and not enough places to listen for them.
No, we have one of our lovely rods that is meant to keep... we have a sound curtain that the rod came down, and unfortunately that takes a lot to fix, and so we don't have the time to do that right now.
Yeah. But we want to get this episode out to you guys as fast as we possibly can on the heels of GenCon. We just wanted to talk about our experience at GenCon. This was our first GenCon. And just kind of talk about that and have a good time.
I think it'll be a fun time. We had a very unique experience for our first GenCon, I think.
I think so, yeah. I think that it was well, let's talk about our GenCon. Let's talk about the lead up to GenCon, our experiences getting to GenCon.
Okay, so when we decided to go, which was fairly early in the whole process, hotels were sold very expensive at that time, and so we had to get a hotel outside of town. It was like 20 minutes outside of town.
20 minutes on like a bad day.
Like 16 on a good day.
Yeah.
Well worth it. I think that, to stay in the center city would have been great, because we love to do that when we go to PAX, but I don't think it was that bad.
I think our travel time was fine. Parking
was, that did suck.
Parking kind of sucked. For one of the days we got parking right there in Center City, which was nice, but it was like $40 for the day, which sucked. And then the rest of the parking that we got was like $16, $17 a day, and that was totally fine. It was about half a mile trek to the convention center, but honestly, it wasn't that bad.
The only time it was really bad was like a couple of those days. It was hot as balls.
It was hot as balls, or the night where we went out to that bar.
Then walking back after that was a little. But the things that were weird at the very beginning of the whole thing was after we decided that we were going and we purchased our
tickets.
Badges, everyone was like, okay, now you have to purchase event tickets, which is insane.
Yeah, so all of our experience has been with smaller conventions. I've been to a couple larger anime conventions, like Sacramento Anime Convention, and I've been to PAX Unplugged.
A billion times. So many times.
We've been to PAX Unplugged every year that there's been a PAX Unplugged. And with those, there's a lot fewer events happening at those conventions. But you don't have to really pre-register. Like for PAX, like morning of, you have to pre-register for some of your games to try and get into like the games that you wanted to get into. But with GenCon, you have to plan out your entire heckin' trip several weeks in advance. And these tickets go out like crazy for these events. And
because there was several that we were super excited about, did not get into. Had to change our entire plan because of that, and do things different days because everything was just up in the air.
It felt really weird.
It did feel really weird.
Yeah, it felt very bizarre, very weird. Very anxiety inducing. Because like the day that all of the tickets go on sale, you have to process your tickets. And then on top of that, a lot of these events cost money.
They do cost money per ticket,
so you're
which was
paying,
weird. Again, that seemed unusual.
Our tickets...
We've done it a couple of times for like games during
PAX. Like PAX. Yeah, you'll pay like $15 to $20 to be in a game or do a LARP or something. But for GenCon, it's like everything you do costs anywhere from $2 to $20. And it felt weird because it's like, I'm not only paying well over $100 on this ticket, but I am also then on top of that paying to do things at the event that this ticket gives me access to. There's lots of free stuff to do at GenCon, like don't get me wrong. But the whole having to plan things so far in advance gave me a lot of anxiety.
I think that there were a lot of free things that we wanted to go to that we didn't get into, and we probably could have if we had just tried going again.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure that spots opened up, because that seemed to be the case for a lot of the free panels.
Mm-hmm.
But there were several that were paid that I thought that a lot of the paid ones, I will say, had a lot of bang for their buck.
Yeah.
And I would do some of those again. Not all of them, but some of them.
Yeah, I agree with that. So another big issue with our GenCon, pre-GenCon, was the fact that Steve lost his job.
I did.
Literally right after we had bought our tickets, Steve had booked our hotel, then lost his job, which sucked. And we found out only a handful of weeks until the convention that because he had lost his job, they had also canceled his hotel reservation, which meant that our room tickets jumped in price by about 3 or 4 times.
Well, yeah, they were $40, and then they went up to $280, which is significantly more expensive than we were planning on. And then me not having a job made that super fucking difficult.
The hotel staff was really kind.
Oh, absolutely. They were so nice.
Gave us a discount, so instead of $280, we only paid $180 a night, which is still astronomical, but much more doable. That only cost me 1 entire paycheck as opposed to 2 entire paychecks.
So we decided to do things a little differently than we had for previous conventions. We decided that this one we were going to prepare our food ahead of time. We were going to bring some breakfast, some quick breads. We made some snacks, like we made fruit leather. We made quite a bit of that. We packed our lunches every day. And I think we've got a lot of takeaways from that to use in other conventions now. Yeah,
because let's be honest, like, cost saving is really important regardless. Now, GenCon did have, like, a huge, they called it, like, the block party, which had, like, I don't know, like 30 food trucks.
More food trucks than you could ever need in your life.
More food trucks you could ever need, which is nice, but also paying $15 for what ends up being, like, a snack on a normal day does not a happy wallet make.
I think that in addition to that, there were, like, making lunch, in addition to saving money, also saved a lot of time because we could just stop where we were.
Oh, yeah.
And not have to worry about... Because I know in other years with PAX, we have left and then come back, and that adds a lot of time away from the convention.
Yeah.
Whereas we didn't have any time away from the convention.
I mean,
as far as
we literally couldn't leave because our parking pass only let us be there
that's true.
During the day. And if we left at all, we lost our spot. So, we got there in the morning, we stayed as long as we could, and then we left. That's just kind of how that happened.
If you do decide to pack your own stuff or make your own fruit leather, we have some fun fruit leathers that we made. I was really happy with. But you probably won't eat nearly as much as you think you will.
I tend to find that during conventions, I don't take care of my body as much as I should.
Well, I mean, I'm a big eater. I eat all the time. Let's be honest. But we didn't eat a lot. I didn't get hungry a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And I really like that for conventions, that, I'm focused in on what's going on, and, I don't think I need all that stuff.
I would have liked to have eaten more myself, just having noticed
some
my
of the tasty
moods
the moods,
during the convention. Let's talk about, like, go day by day.
Okay, we can do a day by day. So let's go got there
day.
Wednesday. I think we can skip over Wednesday.
Wednesday was just a long travel day. We traveled from our home, picked up a friend in Cincinnati, and then continued on to Indianapolis. We did not get to our hotel room until, 2 a.m., 3 a.m.?
Yeah, it was very late.
Very late. Far too late.
We checked in, got settled in, slept as much as we could, left the next morning, headed directly there. Let's roll into Thursday. Thursday, I think, was probably the best day, just overall.
Thursday had the most ups, I'd say.
It was a lot of ups, but not just in addition to, the things that happened on Thursday, but Thursday felt like a better convention than the rest of the weekend. It was not nearly as busy. Everything was a little more laid back and relaxed. because people were just coming in. They weren't sure exactly what to expect.
Yeah.
You have a lot of people who didn't come in on the Thursday and didn't come until Friday or the Saturday. And those days you can really feel that crunch.
I agree with that. Thursday we got in pretty, I wouldn't say early. I think we arrived at the convention at 11?
That day? No, because we had a panel at 11.
Oh, we had a panel at 11.
We got there at 10.
We got there at 10.
Yeah, we got there right as everything was opening up. We were 20 minutes behind everyone else.
Our very first panel, the panelists didn't show up at all. A bunch of us who had shown up to the panel chit-chatted, exchanged information, talked a little bit, and then went about our merry way, which gave me a lot of anxiety for what the rest of the day was going to be.
It was weird because there was no indication of that being the case at all, and yeah. I don't think we've ever got a follow-up with what happened.
See, that's one of the things that interests me, because I am so used to PAX. So PAX as a convention, PAX Unplugged, is perhaps 1/8 the size of GenCon. It is tiny compared to GenCon. Significantly fewer people. Significantly fewer events. However, I feel like the PAX team takes events really seriously, whereas GenCon, it's just kind of flippant whatever, right?
I could see that being a little bit of the case, yeah.
Because there weren't enforcers or staff in any of the event rooms.
That is absolutely fair. That is true. Every time we've gone to one at PAX, there's a line outside. With
PAX, you don't sign up ahead of time. There is a line outside. You queue up for the panel you want to go to. And then there are enforcers who will stop the panel because it's going over time. They will remove people from the room, and they will usher in the new people. And it just felt, for PAX at least, it feels exclusive. It feels put together. It feels both more laid back and more structured. They want to make sure that the events are moving, right? But with GenCon, I really felt like nobody gave a shit for the events.
Okay, that's a fair critique, I think, because we did run into quite a few odd little snafus here and there.
There were.
Specifically on Thursday, the next thing that we did was, after going through the vendor hall and looking at quite a few different games and things to purchase, which, my goodness, I can't describe the immense amount of space in there.
Mm-hmm.
It was breathtaking.
Now, one thing about the expo hall at GenCon that I loved more, so it's way tighter. The space is much tighter at GenCon. There's less room to walk. But they had that artist alley.
They did have that.
Which I super loved. I wish that the artist alley was in a different room. I know some larger anime conventions
I don't think
put the artist alley in a different room. I disagree. I think that would make so much more sense.
I think that maybe shuffling it to a different... No, I don't agree with that. I think that it moving would take away a lot of eyes on those.
I disagree. So it might take fewer eyes, but the people who will be looking at it will be able to actually look at the art. It won't impede traffic in the rest of the expo hall.
That is fair.
Yeah.
It's interesting because Thursday, when we were walking through, I didn't think that PAX's walkways were bigger. Mm-hmm. I felt that I genuinely was surprised. I was like, the walkways feel about the same, but there are less people here than I would have expected. Mm-hmm. And I think that's just because it was the Thursday, because the rest of the weekend it was a sea of people and everything you did was wrong. Yeah, constantly. Absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
If you were stopping at all while you were moving, you were in the wrong. If you're wearing a bag, you're in the wrong. Just everyone made so many terrible mistakes during
It's true. For anyone listening to this who has not gone to a gaming convention, I highly recommend that if you are walking through an expo hall, do not wear a big bulky backpack. Or, if you must wear a backpack, try and debulk it as much as possible. And for the love of God, do not wear a board game backpack. You know, like the ones where you can fit like 6 or 7 board games into it. It's a big, bulky square sitting on the back of your back.
I think that it's so counterintuitive because, like, the one place you would want to wear it is a board gaming convention.
And I'm sure that it's nice if you're buying a bunch of board games on a given day. However, you impede so much freaking frick-fracking traffic. And you move your frickin' body in any way and you're hitting somebody.
Yeah, that happened.
If there is a child, you are giving them a bloody frickin' nose. Okay? Because you have more momentum with that thing than you think. It is heavy as all get out. And it extends like 2 frickin' feet from your back.
In addition, if you are in one of those lines and you begin moving and there is something that you want to look at, pull forward and go around and then make your way back along the front of the booth. Don't try and stop and because you impede traffic, and then that causes so many problems. At one point in time, I expect like 2 lanes of traffic moving nice and easy, and at one point in time, I was all the way to the left-hand side going around people. It's too much.
So in my head, like, I really wish that we could like pretend to be toddlers at like school with like the roads painted on the ground.
That would be fun.
And like you have to stop at the intersection because there's tons of intersections in these expo halls and you should have to stop and look both ways and then, you know, give priority. I know that doesn't work at all in practicality, but several times I was just, you know, it was going through my head. An issue that I had with GenCons, traffic lanes in their expo hall. I am so sorry,
Is it the
guys.
trash cans?
The trash cans. The freaking... So you need to have trash cans. Trash cans are extremely important at events. You know, Walt Disney had a trash can every 22 steps.
Is that what it is?
Because people are only willing to take 11 steps to throw their trash away. That is why there are trash cans literally everywhere in Disneyland and Disney World. It's because people do not want to walk too far to throw their trash away. It is important to have trash cans everywhere at events where there will be lots of people. However, it is not helpful if those trash cans impede traffic.
We did run into that problem a lot where
people would
get caught on the trash cans.
Would get caught going around the trash cans, or people would barnacle to the trash cans.
Oh, also, yeah, absolutely.
So one of my favorite things to do, if I need to step aside for any reason, I will become a barnacle. You know, I will try and find a place to barnacle, like on a ship, you know, where I am out of the way. I might bump out a little bit, but I'm going to try and stay as out of the way as possible to regroup, to find people, to answer a phone call, whatever I need to do. Stay out of the traffic.
Stay out of the traffic, absolutely.
Don't barnacle the trash cans.
If your friends are looking at something, you can keep walking. It's okay. We have cell phones. The technology's there. We can be in constant contact, guys. We don't need to immediately stop and, you know, block everything to look at stuff with them.
Yeah.
I saw so many things on my own because you guys were looking at stuff. Cool. Absolutely the easiest way to do things.
So after we moseyed through the expo hall...
you did get to go hang out with Mr. Baker.
Yes. Stephen and I split apart for a hot second. I went to have lunch in Keith's hotel room and talk about the upcoming panel, chit-chat with him about a handful of things. And Steve, you went to
I went to a panel that was supposed to be about the
cocktail multiverse.
The multiverses and cocktails. And this brings up a thing that I was a little frustrated with. I'm glad I went to the panel. It was a really good panel. But the only mention of cocktails was them bringing up a book that they have coming out eventually and not even giving examples in it. This was a pitch for a book, and the cocktails was just kind of like a side thing. And again, a great panel. I learned a lot about their new and upcoming product, which is a book about Mordenkainen's travels across the multiverse and going to different places. He's going to come to Eberron, which seems really interesting. I got to chat with the gentleman who wrote it. But again, it's very frustrating when you label a panel a certain way and then that panel is not what that is at all. Mm-hmm. You know, we saw Lucas had a panel that was, do beholders have buttholes? That question doesn't get asked. I'm going to be upset.
So But it's also more than just, like, the name of the panel. It's also the description of the panel that matters. Like, do beholders have buttholes? The description of that panel was, we're going to talk about silly things when it comes to monsters, such as, do beholders have buttholes? You are going in with a specific...
I definitely expected that. I went to that panel specifically because I thought cocktails was going to be on the agenda, and, you know, we have Silas, who is a chronic alcoholic, and I was like, multiverses, possibility of Eberron, cocktail mentioning, this is everything I could ever want in a panel, and it was not that.
Which is a shame.
We have had that happen in the past where we've gone to several panels where it has been about something, the intimacy panels. Ugh. Every time we go to one of the intimacy panels, it turns out to just be about using X cards. And, yes. I mean, those tools are important.
There was a full year at PAX where almost every panel you went to, regardless of what it was about, it was actually just about safety tools in TTRPGs. And I love safety tools. Safety tools are super important. However, if you are pitching a panel about how to facilitate romance in your games, it's okay to talk about safety tools, but that should not be 80% of...
No, I should have some ability to learn how to discuss facilitating romance in one of my games. Like, that was the whole reason I went.
Yeah. This is an ongoing issue in the community at large. There have been a couple of panels about, like, world building and fashion that we've gone to at PAX a couple times. That's been more about character design than world building, and I've had issues with that in the past.
Well, let's talk about a panel that was wonderfully named.
Oh, thank you.
And turned out really well.
Oh, yeah. Eberron, a 20-year retrospective, was the panel that I moderated. I made the PowerPoint. Keith was gracious enough to help me get our other two panelists, Chris Perkins and Jeremy Crawford, who were super duper amazing. I got a couple of chuckles out of them with some of my memes, and I'm very proud of that.
I know that it's very easy to hate on wizards, and I mean, we've made jokes about wizards in the past, but Jeremy and Chris were both genuinely warm and enjoyable people.
Wizards Corporation,
absolutely
bad. Wizards, the people working within it, pretty okay blokes.
Yeah, they were wonderful. I felt like they had such unique insights on Eberron. Yeah, listen to the panel.
Yeah, in a couple of days after this releases, we will have the full panel up on our YouTube channel. So please subscribe, like, ring whatever bells you gotta do. Whatever you gotta do, just check that out once that goes available on the YouTube. There's actually a bit that I had planned the entire time. I had a little bit of misinformation, and it was really funny because so there's a bit where Keith in the past has talked about his Eberron Bible. It's the 100-page Eberron Bible, and he doesn't know what happened to it. It's somewhere, he said, probably with Wizards of the Coast. He doesn't know. And he and Jeremy had been talking the day before our panel about, you know, what to expect, all of that good stuff. And apparently the Bible was at Chris's house in his garage, and he had been actively looking for it for the panel. And I did this stupid little bit where I made, like, a notebook with magazine letter clippings. It looked like a frickin' serial killer notebook. Go look at the video. It's on the video once that releases. And the bit was, I was going to, you know, say, oh, well, we don't know what happened to that 100-page Bible, but actually I've got it right here. I had an insider at WotC. Get it for me. And I'll hand the book to Keith, and then I'll grab a $5 bill from my pocket, and I'll be like, oh, by the way, Jeremy Crawford, this is for you. I meant to give it to you earlier. Well, Chris, as I start talking about the Bible, he's like, oh yeah, actually it's in my garage. And so I have to change, I gotta switch, do a quick switch. And I go, well, actually, Chris, I have it right here. And I had to hand Chris the $5, with a suggestion of either I paid him for it or I broke into his literal house to get it. And he was super cool about it. He passed me the $5 bill back underneath the table, real sly-like. It was really good. He yes-anded his way through that one really well, and I appreciate it a lot.
There was a lot of really good insight during that whole panel. I thought it was really fun. There was a question that is posed in that panel regarding a piece of artwork from Wayne Reynolds. We're not going to say any of that now. You have to watch it. You have to watch it. But we will say we did talk to Wayne Reynolds, and it did exist.
Yeah.
And it may still exist.
Yeah. I'm going to have to pay him for that.
Yeah, we're absolutely. I want it on my wall.
No, but the gentlemen were really good. We had very limited time for that panel. We had to scurry out of that room as fast as possible to get to Keith's next engagement, as well as set up for the Magic the Gathering panel that was going to be in that room afterwards.
Originally, you were going to have it as an hour and a half, and it got cut down to the 50 minutes.
Yes.
I was concerned about you having enough to talk about for that hour and a half. I think they could have done 2 hours. My God.
Oh, solidly.
They were.
I had no
so much deep lore.
All three of them just wanted to chat, and I wanted to let them do that. And had I still had that hour and a half, I feel like it would have been really, really good. I feel like the conversation would have continued in a really productive way, and also had like a solid 15 minutes for question and answer.
And discussing the DM's Guild too. I really was looking forward to insights.
Yeah, I did have a whole panel on DM's Guild that I didn't get to talk with Keith about. You'll see it in the video. It pops up briefly while I spout off a couple of statistics. But it was fine. I think we did really well, and
I think you did amazing. I think it was a great panel, and as we had to leave there, we had to quickly get out of there. The most unbelievable thing in the world happened, and I'm still shaken up by it to this.
I got to brag about it at work.
Did
today.
you really?
I bragged about it at work today.
So you want to tell them?
No,
I'm sure several of our fans already know. We had our very first person come up and ask for us to give our autographs, and that was like so touching.
Oh, I'm gonna cry.
No, I know. And we had to run out of there so quickly.
I felt like such an asshole because we had to go to our next thing, and I was trying to find the guy who had taken the tickets, but he was a sexist asshole and gave Keith the tickets even though I told him that I was the event organizer, and like, shit, man.
But I didn't think that was going to happen, especially because I had fuck all to do with this panel. I had fuck all to do with this convention at all. I was, just along for the ride, and then to have someone know it was us and then ask for that, oh my God. Oh my God. It was absolutely amazing, and
it was really good.
I can't gush enough.
Yeah. Makes my heart like happy. And then
so we had to get out of that panel.
We had to leave.
Run to the next panel, because the next panel was Keith DMing a game of Eberron.
Yes, for Six Sided Gaming, the Legacy of Worlds game. I think that got live streamed, and it's probably up on Six Sided.
I heard it got recorded.
One of the Roast of Mordenkainen got recorded, but I'm pretty sure those got live streamed because I saw on the guy's computer he had OBS running.
Oh, okay. Well, then, that might be we'll have to look into it then.
Yeah. And it should be up on the Six Sides of Gaming
If you're
YouTube.
not familiar with Legacy of Worlds, it is all of the coolest people played by some of the more coolest people.
So it's a lot of like the big names of different settings. So you've got Melf the Elf, you've got Elminster, you've got Merrick's to Cannith, and some other people. I don't know all of them off the top of my head currently. But they play through this adventure together, doing a whole bunch of different things, going to different worlds, and Keith had taken them to Eberron with the kind of conceit that they were being recorded, kind of like in a movie theater. Some of their biggest, best moments were being re-recorded for viewing audiences, which was just a really funny concept.
A lot of really interesting ideas for technology, and a lot of cool things happened during that.
Yeah. It was good, and everybody should go watch that as well.
Absolutely. Six Sides of Gaming, everything that we've seen with them over the weekend was fantastic. And I'm incredibly jealous that I didn't get to go to all of the Legacy of Worlds. We just didn't have the money or the time for it.
That's true.
So we wrapped out Friday.
Or
Thursday.
Thursday was done.
We
went back to the hotel room.
We did go back.
We slept.
Began the next day.
Yep. Friday was busy AF. We ended up skipping one of our panels in the early morning because we were all just too exhausted.
And traffic was ungodly getting into the city that morning.
Yeah, we tried and it didn't happen. So instead, we had a kind of slow morning, walked through the expo hall, listened to some music that was happening. That's a fun thing that happens at GenCon is they've got like little stages set up for like different like entertainment acts, trivia acts, musicians, etc. And I feel like that's really fun. I really enjoyed that.
We saw belly dancers. We saw
belly dancers. That was so cool.
The little trio of musicians, and they had it set up so that way you could do different...
you could vote on like the music you wanted them to play. So I gave them money for Legend of Zelda, and they played Hateno Village theme song from Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, and that was really cool.
I think the only problem that we had with those is that it was... Where they're located, it would be nice if it was sectioned off a little bit more.
Yeah, like a lot of them, so some of them are just kind of like, it's like busking. They're standing on like the corner in one of the hallways outside of like the expo hall, and they've got their little tip jar out, and it's totally fine, right? It's like busking. But then there's like a couple stages specifically set up for these performances, and one of them's in like the big main thoroughfare. And I kind of wish that, like, either there was tape on the ground or, like, cordoned off somehow, and maybe, like, some chairs put out so that it really felt, like, worth it to sit down and actually give these performers, like, extra tension. And then also it kind of gives an extra place for people to rest during the convention. But then, like, in that particular area, I could see how that would obstruct the flow of traffic. But then having people literally stand there watching these performers is already obstructing traffic. So might as well cordon it off a little bit with like some rope or something.
Like they do with the cosplay photos.
With the cosplay photos, like that's literally just tape on the ground.
Yeah, but everyone knows.
But everybody knew that you're not supposed to like just walk through there because that's for cosplay photos.
Yep.
Yeah.
They also had a couple of other really interesting art pieces that were set up that I was really impressed with. Card Hala, which is they make a little towers of magic cards, Pokemon cards, whatever TCG cards you can imagine. And they start building these little towers and make a big village. And then at the end of the convention, you can throw money to donate to charity and then tear down these towers. It was really fun idea.
Really cool. And then they also had a big, giant balloon structure that you could walk into that was based on one of the board games that was like heavily marketed at GenCon called Gnome Hollow, and that was really cool.
Yeah, that sold Jared immediately.
Yeah.
He went right for it.
He saw those gnomes and he was like, I'm buying that game.
Yeah. Didn't even learn how to play it. Just immediately bought it.
Yeah.
And
what
then,
a rude...
I mean, it might be a great game. I have no idea.
It probably is, yeah.
There was also the mural painting, where they had that big canvas where everyone could come and individually paint sections of the mural. That was so neat.
I thought that was precious. We didn't do it, but I thought it was precious.
I would have done it, but it felt like an activity where I try not to do those type of activities if there's a lot of kids around, because I don't want to take up that spot.
You want the kids to play. Yeah. That's understandable. I would much prefer a kid to... You're always really, like, conscientious of children.
Well, that's because I don't want to ever... Like, we went to a thing today where I wanted to do face painting and get the mark of Civis on my face. I was really excited about it, but I don't want to stand in the way of some kid's fun. And I think that's important to remember is that...
Well, no, but you also one of the booths had a penny presser, and this kid was, like, super interested in it, and you gave him the money to press a penny.
Well, yeah, because it's going to be a good memory for them. Yeah. I think that it's good to make a lot of positive memories for people at conventions.
That's sweet.
And, 50 cents? No stress?
51, actually.
51 cents?
Because I also gave him the penny.
Yeah.
No, it's sweet. I love it. I love you for that.
We went through the makers section that morning, too. Because we went first through the stadium, and the stadium was fantastic.
Oh my gosh, that was so cool.
I was blown away getting to go inside the stadium and see a bunch of nerds playing on the football field was great. I really wish I could have signed up to play something.
I had an issue. So they had part of the football turf, like, exposed so you could, like, take a selfie with it. But it was, like, smack dab in the middle of the field, and I wish they would have either done that on... like the 50 of the 50-yard line.
Oh, so you could see the number?
So you could see the number. And then also that, like, spot is, like, off to the side and it's not, like, impeding traffic.
No, I'm cool with it being right there in the center. It made me feel great to stand in the center of the field.
Okay. I get that, but also, like...
I mean, to you, it's an unidentifiable line. To
it's
me,
an unidentifiable
that's the 50-yard line. I'm well aware.
Yeah. Was it, though? Are you sure about that?
God, I hope so, because now I'm going to look like an idiot.
Maybe it was the 40-yard line, and you'll never freaking know because you didn't see the number.
That's true. You got me on that one.
Yeah.
There was a bunch of fun makers things along the tunnel leading from the stadium into the convention.
Oh, I saw these gorgeous, like, glasses holders with dice in them, and I
little teapot tea holders.
Little teapot tea holders with cute little dice attached. Oh my god, I wanted it.
There was so many cute things there. And it's one of the things we'll have to look forward to in later years. If you do go and there's things that you see, take business cards. Take business cards and then take photos with your phone. That is the best way to do that, or record. I recorded a bunch of the games that I played that I was like, oh, that's a fun game. I'd like to be reminded of this in a little bit. I'll go back through. I'll look at the videos. I'll remember the names. I can look them up.
Main event for Friday was the Roast of Mordenkainen, which was a charity event done by Six Side of Gaming.
To raise money for Owen Casey Stevens.
So basically they played a... edited version, a hacked version of, I'm pretty sure the RPG is called Baron Munchausen.
It is Baron Munchausen.
Where basically it's like a resource management RPG, storytelling RPG, where you tell stories based on a prompt given by the narrator or GM or DM, whatever. And you can interject into other people's stories by giving them a token. And if they refuse your token, they have to give you an extra token back, which is really interesting and fun. And it's a game that I now really want to play myself.
Absolutely. I think it's super silly and nonsensical. And I would love, like, in my head, I'm already just coming up with a plays on what they've done. Because they did the Roast of Mordenkainen where they had just different people. Keith was Merrick's to Kenneth. Elisa was Tasha. Ed Greenwood was Elminster. Then we had Tommy Goff did the Dritz Erden enemy Artemis and Tari. I've never read the Dritz books. I have no idea who he was, but you know what? Fantastic job. Absolutely amazing.
All I know is that they have tattoos of each other.
Yeah, absolutely. Latia was there too. She did the journalist from the Waterdeep Wazoo. Delia
something?
Delia, I'm pretty sure it was Delia. My goodness. I wish I had taken better notes.
Yeah, we didn't take notes. I didn't take notes at all, at least.
And then the last one was the SJ Babe. She played the Boros commander.
From Ravnica.
From Ravnica, yeah. So they had like a good mix of everyone from different worlds, and it was really fun. Some of the stories that Ed Greenwood is the dirtiest motherfucker in the world. Like, I feel a little uncomfortable sometimes, some of the jokes that we have made with our podcast, and Ed Greenwood's just like, nope.
Ed Greenwood just went whole fucking ham on pushing the envelope of what PG-13 or even rated R
if you can find it, it was super fun, and I recommend it highly.
Please watch it.
If you can also give to Owen Gay Stevens, I know that he's currently going through a lot with cancer treatment, and that he currently has his Kickstarter available still.
Is it a Kickstarter or is it a GoFundMe?
GoFundMe. I always think that those are that's just me going off, because you know how I am.
Yeah.
Kickstarter just covers all of that. I'm like, oh, it's a Kickstarter, and you're like, that's not a Kickstarter at all.
Yeah, no. Yeah, it's a GoFundMe. I'm pretty sure. But that was our Friday. We closed out Friday.
Hilarious.
It was beautiful.
Amazing.
10
I actually
out
got
of 10.
all of their autographs, and except for Latia, she had to go real quick, and I didn't get a chance to ask her. But then during that, I got the SJ Babes autograph because I was so excited to mark everyone in my book, because it meant a lot, the fun that I had in that panel. And when she was signing it, she said it was the first time that she had signed a book, and that I didn't understand, I was like, no, I do understand how important that is, because I just had that.
It just happened to be yesterday. Yeah.
I know. I literally have no one, and I don't know if you're following at all, but man, it was crazy. It was and like I was gonna cry at the time because I was in this genuine moment.
Lots of big emotions.
Lots of big emotions. So many really nice people. And that one in particular, taking the time to raise the money during the convention, just again, they're sweethearts. Absolutely wonderful people. And everyone who gave is wonderful people as well.
So moving on to Saturday, we also had a panel that morning that we skipped because we were too gosh diggity darn tired from the events prior. We walked through the expo hall, and there were so many people, I ended up having a panic attack in the expo hall. I couldn't breathe. There were too many people around me, and I didn't know how to cope. Normally I don't get, too anxious when there's a lot of people, but the amount of people, it was oppressive on me. And I couldn't breathe. And we ended up trying to find a place to sit down. And we couldn't find anywhere to sit down because there were so many people doing all of these different events. There were no empty, chairs or tables for me to just, pop a squat real quick. So I ended up finding a women's restroom and just sitting on the toilet and crying for, 3 or 4 minutes. Just to get all of my anxiety out. And Stephen happened to stumble upon the open crafting room, which I loved.
Yeah, fantastic.
One of the handful of
again.
Yeah, one of the
I would do a convention of just crafting.
So a couple of cool things about GenCon that I haven't seen at other conventions. Kind of. I've seen it some other conventions, but not to this extent. Are all of the different nerdy stuff adjacent workshops and things to do. I know that GenCon had a lot of hey, make your own dice tray, sew your own book bag, stuff like that, which was really cool. Really expensive, those events were. We wanted to do a couple of them, but it wasn't in the budget.
They had so many puppet things. I wanted to go to every one of them. I wish I could have gone to one, but we had to change our schedule because of scheduling conflicts with the panel initially, and that became a whole thing. And man, I really wanted to go to those though.
Yeah. And so they have an obligatory quiet room where, if you are having mental issues, you can go into their quiet room and it's nice and quiet. Steve instead went into their open crafting room, which was pretty quiet.
It was.
People were idly chatting. It was not, full to the brim at all. But basically just all around this room, they had just random shit everywhere. Paper, they had hot glue guns, regular glue, they had fabric, yarn, knitting needle, just like everything you could think of thrown. What I think happened is somebody went, I don't want all of this shit in my crafting room at home anymore.
Someone cleaned out all their crafting rooms?
Just cleaned it out and brought it to GenCon with them. Man, and left it there. Good idea. That's what I would do. It's
someone else's problem.
And so we sat in there for about an hour. I made like a little flying snake coatl guy out of some pipe cleaners, some buttons, rhinestones, and feathers.
Jared made a little cockatrice that I don't know what he made it out of. It looked like he took a handful of stuff and then smushed it together, and then it magically became a cockatrice. It really came out super well. It came out
really well.
Because he kept adding glue, and I was like, "It's not going to stick, buddy. I don't. There's so much glue in here."
He kept trying,
but the hot glue helped. I think it was too warm in there because it was rather warm the entire convention.
The entire convention center was really warm, and I think that's where we're going to talk about this because there's been something we haven't talked about that I think is really important for us to talk about, and that was the lack of potable water.
That is a fair critique. They did have water stations set up in areas where you could find them. And if you found those water stations, amazing. Absolutely wonderful.
Now, by water stations, we do mean like classic water cooler. It's an upside down water jug. Any of the water that you would get out of any fountain in any faucet, literally in the area of the convention center, because I went to a couple of the different hotels, and the water in those hotels was also absolute dog shit. And what I mean by this is, first and foremost, water from the water fountain was warm.
Uncomfortably
warm. Not
warm.
Lukewarm, not room temperature, but like...
It felt hot in my mouth.
It felt hot
in the mouth. I did not like that.
It was warm water. On top of it, the water tasted like burnt plastic.
I love tap water. I've been drinking tap water most of my life. I've lived in several cities. That was the most... the only time that I will say that I had worse water was that disgusting sulfur water that you made me drink from that one fountain because you're a sick fucking monster.
That's not city water. That's beautiful, natural occurring sulfur
butthole
water.
Yeah.
Yeah, butthole water from Ashland, Oregon. From the natural butthole springs.
The only other thing that I can say that is up there is that, because it was warm.
It was so bad. And I feel like this is a failing on the municipality of Indianapolis.
Get your shit together,
This
Indianapolis.
Is not anything to say bad about GenCon. They did what they could. However, I should not have to scrounge for free bottles of water from my own hotel room. I should not have to be searching for specific water places just because your water is the worst thing that I've ever put in my mouth ever.
We had, heard from other people at the convention that, like, the VIG room, which normally gives out bottled water, instead was giving out refillable bottles because they wanted people to refill them, but there was just not enough stations for that.
There wasn't enough stations, and the water was gross. And just something to note for next time, I am going to bring a pallet of water with me for next time.
And that's the worst, because we always, that is the one thing I was like, PAX has, is the refilling station.
The water at the Philadelphia Convention Center is tasty and is cold.
Hits the spot every time.
Also, it's the kind of water stations where you can put your heckin' little water bottle there and it frickin' fills it up. You don't have to try and finagle it in like a mouthy Philly water guy.
And I don't like when they have the mouthy Philly, because then it's too close, especially with COVID.
I don't like it.
I know that people have said that they've had COVID incidents from coming back, and that's a shame.
Yeah.
I mean,
we've been lucky so far.
Absolutely. Hey, it is Editing Steve here. Unfortunately, someone in our group did come down with COVID. Initially, it didn't look like it,
they had come up negative on all the tests, but then when they officially went in to see the doctor, that turned out to not be the case. It seems like the special variant everyone took home this year, and that is an absolute shame to have that be the takeaway from the convention. I'm going to now return you back to Rebecca and Steve, who are currently in progress talking about some nonsense.
Another thing that happened Saturday, and it was because of Thursday and Friday, is I have problems with my one knee. I split it open when I was a kid, and I've had problems with it since, so I tend to put a lot of pressure on my other leg. And so I spent the whole day on a cane on Saturday, and it was easy to get around. I was very happy with that, because I do feel like other conventions we've been to, it's not always as easy to get around. The walking, know your limits when you're at conventions. Don't be ashamed that you are not okay. It's okay to not be okay. And you know, if you need something that helps you get through, do that thing.
Yeah.
Because I always feel ashamed when I have to use the cane. But I used it for part of Saturday, and I didn't have to use it the rest of the time, because a couple of times when we were standing, instead of putting all that pressure on my one leg, I used the cane, and everything was cool.
After my panic attack and after we hung out in the crafting room and chilled, we went to one of those other nerd-adjacent workshops.
So we were signed up for, by Rebecca, courtly dancing.
Courtly dancing.
We were going to go into a room in the middle of a convention with a bunch of hot, sweaty people and dance in the traditional 1500s?
No, it was 16th century.
16th century, my apologies. Isn't the 1500s the 16th century?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Because the 1900s is the 20th century, champ.
Yeah. Oh,
yeah,
man.
Nailed it.
I suck.
But so, I was on a cane that day, and I thought it was going to be a problem. And I was worried about it, and I'm not going to be dishonest. I didn't think I was going to enjoy dancing. I thought I was going to be a little bitch baby about it, and I wasn't.
No.
It was fantastic. Yeah. We had a full room full of people, 14 sets of couples, and everything went really well and was incredibly fun. I would love to do it again.
It was really fun.
I wanted to do it again on Sunday. I tried to sign us up for it then, but we decided to take it easy on Sunday.
Yeah. It was, I'd done at other conventions, like Sacramento Anime Convention had a waltzing thing that I did back in high school. And a couple other conventions I went to had like tango and waltzing and cha-cha workshops that I'd gone to. Because I think that it's just fun. Like, I really wish that we had a group in our area that did historical dances.
Oh, man.
Because I would be so heckin' down to do some historical dancing or just some ballroom dancing. There's no good ballroom dancing in our area, which is so sad because I would solidly pay $50 a month to take ballroom dancing classes.
I would do that. That'd be fun.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I have the rhythm in my lower half because
you did pretty good.
Of my knee issues.
You did pretty good. Well, I feel like it goes hand in hand because your knee issues will help. Once you lose a little bit of weight.
Well, no, it's because my one knee hurts because I fucked it up, and then I
mean,
losing weight would also help. That is true.
Or also maybe just get good.
I was better than you were. You hit somebody.
I did hit somebody right in the head. I got too into it. And there's a part where like you're supposed to like lean out from like an embrace and like arc your arm out, and I did that, and I hit this poor person right in the frickin' head. And after we had finished our set, I ran over to them and I apologized profusely. I'm like, I'm so sorry that I hit you in the head. I was too into it. I'm so sorry. It was great. 10 out of 10 would do again.
We met a ton of really interesting people during that as well. Just, all different walks of life. And it was really a really good time.
It was really good.
We spent the entire rest of the turn doing step,
dip, step, step.
Yeah, step, dip, step.
Yeah.
And then the arm thing.
Yep. Yeah.
It was a lot of fun.
Repose.
The only problem that we had, and I think that it wasn't a problem for us, which is lucky, because if it had been a problem, I'd be fucking pissed.
Yes. The room was double booked with 2 separate dance workshops. The lady had said that this wasn't the first time that it had happened to them with GenCon, where the same room was booked for 2 totally different kinds of dances. For us, it was Celtic dancing or courtly dancing, which have 2 very different tempos, different styles, different dances. Kind of an absolute shame, because you'd expect that to not happen at an event as big and prestigious as GenCon, but like I said earlier, it kind of just leans toward the GenCon doesn't give 2 hecks about the events that are going on.
They had to do the Celtic dancing in the hallway. If we had paid for an event and I had to do it in the hallway in front of everybody, I would not have been comfortable. I would have been very upset about the entire thing.
Yeah.
Because, dancing is...
instead of doing it in a room with other people who are probably also just now learning and will look just as awkward, you're now doing it in a public space.
In a public space in the way.
Exactly.
Which, because you've got the other end of the hallway was bathrooms, and then there's a section where they were cut through. Yeah, and the crafting room was right there. I honestly would have been very, very unhappy with that.
Yeah.
And I do hope that there was some sort of remedy for those people, because that sucks. It absolutely sucks.
Yeah. If I were those event organizers, I would personally be raising a little bit of hell.
Yeah.
I'd be very upset about that. But other than that, our Saturday went well. We went to a tiki bar.
We did go to a tiki bar.
That evening, which was really, really fun. I really enjoyed that. The tiki.
So I like the idea and the aesthetics there. I don't like a lot of the...
Yeah, tiki is problematic in and of itself because of what it is.
Yep.
However, fruity-ass alcoholic drinks, check. Pineapples, check. The aesthetics of it are very attractive to me, and it is a culture that I'd love to actually be able to experience and appreciate. But tiki culture in and of itself, tiki culture, not, Polynesian culture or Hawaiian culture, tiki culture is inherently in and of itself problematic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Very colonialist, very yucky. But it was a cool place.
It was a very cool bar to go out and have drinks. We had a good time there.
Yeah. And then on Sunday,
the last day, the final day.
Sunday felt less packed. It felt more chill. Sunday was the first day that I really got to walk around by myself. It was just a vibe.
You and I had very different vibes, I think, on Sunday.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you were just like, things are a little more chill, a little more laid back.
But you felt that it wasn't that way.
Everyone felt so, quick about everything. It felt like everyone was in a rush to get places. So I demoed so many games that day just because I wanted to take the time to learn different things that people were there to put forward. Mm-hmm. I was really excited about a ton of them that we played. And I think that that happens... It was easier for that to happen on Sunday because on Friday and Saturday, everyone's trying to jam-pack everything they can in so that way they can figure out what they want to buy for Sunday. Whereas because I know I'm not getting anything, I could just take my time and learn all these different systems.
Yeah.
Another thing that I think that didn't get mentioned at all is the Wild Bills, the soda.
Wild Bills and other, if you go to a convention and there's a place that sells soda in refillable mugs, do it.
Don't get it for the whole weekend, though. Because you're not going to use it the last day. Unless you have it inside the convention, because PAX has theirs inside the convention hall.
PAX has 2 inside the convention hall on either side of the expo hall.
Whereas the one at GenCon was outside with the food carts, and so unless you were going out there consistently, there's not really that need for it.
Yeah, the food carts were between the Lucas Oil Stadium and the convention center itself, and it just was a little bit too out of the way for my tastes.
I can see that. They said it had been in a different area previously.
Yeah, there was construction on a hotel across the street, and that's where it had been previously.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, because, now it's a giant hole in the ground.
That definitely makes sense then.
You can't put stuff in a giant hole in the ground unless you want it to be in the hole in the ground.
That's very, very true.
Yeah.
Is there anything you want to talk about besides that for Sunday? Sunday was very easy.
Sunday was so easy and chill and relaxed. We didn't have to do anything. We didn't have to go anywhere. There was no pressure on Sunday, which I really appreciated.
Oh, we got to do some fun stuff, though, that we didn't get to do other times. We got to go see the Cosplay Deviants.
Yes, we did get to go into the 18-only booth, which was very fun. They didn't have the products that I was looking for available for sale anymore, but...
Some MTG tokens.
Yeah, some slutty tokens.
I think that's an interesting thing as well, because they have the burlesque shows, and I would have liked to go to those one of the nights if we had had the time, and also, we went out to dinner all of the nights that we were there, so we didn't really have the time or we didn't have the time to do that. But that's very different than, like, again, PAX, because PAX doesn't feel like it has a space for that.
Yeah. PAX is a lot more family friendly, even though, like, GenCon has, like, a kids day and, like, kids events. PAX feels more... The word I'm going to use is sanitized.
Okay, that's fair.
PAX also doesn't do cosplay as much. GenCon has like a big cosplay
so many
culture.
Amazing cosplays.
There's a huge cosplay event on Saturday, but for PAX, there aren't any cosplay events. What cosplayers you do see are just cosplaying because they want to, not because there's any other reason.
They had the cosplay meetup, though.
Yes, but that was the external event that like people, like cosplayers themselves, had organized. With PAX Unplugged, it wasn't like, PAX Unplugged doing that event as part of their programming. So final thoughts on GenCon.
Do you want to talk about any of the stuff that we played, or? Okay, well then final thoughts. HeroScape is coming back, baby. I'm so excited about that. Mm-hmm. There is a new expansion for the Unmatched series, which is both the Slings and Arrows, which we saw, which was really nice.
Yeah,
super excited about.
That one, yeah.
And then the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles set. Hell yeah! Real excited about that one as well.
Yeah. We played the One Piece Bento Panic game. That was a lot of fun. It had literally only been out a week, which was really cool because I saw like a commercial for it and I was really excited about it, and I didn't expect them to be there.
Yeah, I thought that was a cute game that I could see me playing again. There was one we wanted to try, Oh My Pigeons, but they sold out of that one immediately. And then on top of that, the demo line was insane for that one.
But they did so much marketing for it.
Yeah, it was
marketed everywhere, and I was so baffled by the fact that they didn't bring like a bunch of copies. Like, if you're going to market a game everywhere, you should expect to sell out. They
had, because it was the Ravensburger booth, because they had stuff sold out immediately day one when we went to look. Mm-hmm. In addition to that game, there was other stuff with Lorcana. I'm not sure what happened there. It seemed weird.
Yeah, it felt weird. We did play one game. I'm not going to say its name, but it was literally just Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, the card game.
I think it would have been fun for like a one-time playthrough.
It literally is a one-time. The guy said that there's zero replayability. It's a $15 game, and it's literally Phoenix Wright, except for you have to read everything without music. And
my one caveat is that it had app support. Did not like that. You had to use the app in order to play the game. Mm-mm. You can't do it without it because you have to enter in the guesses into the app. And I think that is no bueno. If you have something in app form that benefits your game, in a way, but isn't required, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
But if it's required, I don't like that.
I
Any
agree.
number of things could happen and cause that issue.
I agree. If, that shouldn't be a thing.
I absolutely agree.
At that point, just make the game an app.
No, that also would make sense, yes.
Yeah.
Because, it's just Phoenix Wright the game. Now you've got it as a mobile game.
Okay, yeah, just make another Phoenix Wright game via a mobile game. And honestly, you'll probably get more people to play it, in my personal opinion, because there's more expectation that a video game will be single play, whereas a card game, I want to be able to play it multiple times.
One that I was excited to look at, I'm not sure that I would buy just because it looks like it's a lot of complication, was the Dragon Dice game.
Okay.
Because they use dice as miniatures for the game. And while the mechanics didn't seem that problematic, I just would have trouble keeping track of which dice is which.
Yeah.
Because, again, you had to have an app to go through that.
I don't like that. Yeah.
Hey, this dice is this, and it does that.
There were cool games that we played, like that one horse racing game.
The Fast Track. Fast Track?
Yeah.
Pretty sure it's Fast
We
Track.
play so many horse racing games.
We do play a lot of racing games, not specifically horse racing games.
Well,
It's gambling
yeah,
games.
Gambling games.
Yeah,
Gambling
absolutely.
games, gambling games.
Gotta go down to the track.
I kicked their butts at this game.
It was really fun,
Yeah.
the way that the game worked, and I think that there's a lot of potential there.
Yeah.
I could see me actually getting that game.
Yeah, I would buy that game.
There are several racing games that we have that I feel don't have that replayability. Divinity Derby's fun a couple of times, but then it's going to go on the shelf for a little while.
Exactly.
That one I could see playing consistently.
Yeah, I agree. Out of all of the games that I wish we would have bought, that was probably one of the handful I wish we would have bought.
I concur on that. I think that getting the bundle that they had would have been great.
Yeah, I agree.
The robot deck building game also would have been fun.
Yep, I agree with that.
Because it was a deck builder from the people who do Star Realms, and they do a great deck builder, but it added BattleBots elements, and I'm here for that.
Yeah, I love a good BattleBots.
I wanted the newest version of Epic Spell Wars and Isle 3. That looked really fun. There was another expansion for Red Dragon Inn. If you've played one Red Dragon Inn, you've played them
all of them.
But I can't help myself from wanting the next set, and I'm always like that.
Yeah, we've got the smorgasbord. We might as well fill the smorgasbord.
We played a couple other games. We played
One Deck Dungeon, which was fun.
One Deck Dungeon was really fun.
They were completely sold out of all of their copies of this game. And they were like, we're demoing, the Kickstarter that's going to go live here soon. And they were like, because we can't sell you any games, here's some Welch's fruit gummies.
They were really nice. The game played really well, and I could see me getting that.
I jammed on those freaking fruit gummies. That's for sure.
That was the thing that you took away from that?
Yeah.
The fruit gummies.
The fruit gummies. Yeah.
We played one which was Liar's Dice with more steps. I did not like that one.
No, I tend to not like Liar's Dice games. I didn't like the table foldies that they had. Because the problem with Liar's Dice is, unless I can reliably hide my dice, the guy to my left or right's going to look at my dice.
That is fair.
Yeah.
And
give me cups.
Give me cups for Liar's Dice. And then I think that Liar's Dice plus more steps is always going to be less fun than Liar's Dice.
Yeah, I agree.
Trying to think if there's anything else that we played.
There probably was.
I definitely demoed that one game that was a Kickstarter. I don't remember the name of the game because it was written in a weird language on the packaging. Don't you remember? I got the candy and the dice from them. That weird logo. That was their name of the game.
Yeah,
I have no idea what it was.
Like the bug shooty robot thing.
Yeah, you're in a mine trying to mine resources from the planet. You get different troops. It looked really fun, and
that's a failing of marketing right there.
I think that it was Sunday. He just didn't. He wasn't worried about it.
Yeah.
I'm on his mailing list, so he'll send me the details.
Oh, yeah. I hope he does. So to wrap everything up, actually and finally, GenCon, we gonna do it again?
I think so. I think that there's no reason not to. It was expensive, but it was really,
worth it.
really good. Oh, we got to meet so many people that I didn't even think to list. There are countless artists who I got to talk about Eberron with.
Mm-hmm.
We got to speak with Wolfgang Bauer. That was an incredible moment because he has a reputation because of the Eberron community as being bad. But he was a genuinely really nice guy and was just very down to earth. And I think that it'll be a delight to talk to him.
Yeah. Yeah, all of the artists that we got to talk to, the authors we got to talk to, and I mean, hopefully we will get some fruit from our labors for later episodes of the
really
Upwards.
would like to talk to so many of them. Wayne Reynolds was a delight, and again, I'm not gonna go down the list. I gotta stop. Because I could do this all day.
So, Gen Con next year, big possibility.
Big possibility.
Yeah.
PAX.
PAX, we are always going to do PAX.
I don't know because
so I disagree.
GenCon is about a 5.5 hour, and PAX is about a 5.5 hour.
Mm-hmm.
The pricing is. I don't.
PAX is cheaper except for our hotels.
That is true.
But honestly, I would much rather go to PAX each year.
I think
and maybe it's just the loyalty in me, but I love PAX.
I love PAX too. However, last year we saw a lot of things that I did not like.
Yeah, I think that that's going to happen, but I think that, 1 or 2 bad years shouldn't turn you off from an event forever.
I don't know that it will, but if it's consistent and they keep making decisions that I'm not super cool with, I'm going to have to say something.
Yeah. I don't know. Agree to disagree.
Agree to disagree.
Yeah. And with that, everybody, I hope you all enjoyed our little rundown of how our GenCon 2024 went.
How did your GenCon go, those of you who went?
And would you guys be thinking about going to GenCon in the future? What conventions do you guys like to go to? Yeah,
mention it down below. If there's something we missed at GenCon, let us know.
Oh, we missed so much stuff at GenCon. There's so many lists coming out that are like, look at all the things I did at GenCon. And I'm like, I didn't even realize that was happening.
There were so many games that I found on Sunday that I'd walked by like a dozen times. Oh my god. It's just very overwhelming at times.
Very overwhelming. Regardless, I hope you all have a wonderful evening, and remember to keep an ear out for those echoes of hope.